From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for the weekend of July 21st, 22nd, 2018. Silver is trading at $15.52 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,232 per ounce. Zencash is trading at $27, and the average price of Bitcoin is $7,360. Antiwar.com reports with the Syrian rebel factions having been defeated or negotiated surrender deals, the first rebels from the territory around the frontier with the Israeli-occupied Golan Heights have started to evacuate the area, heading north to the rebel-held Idlib province. Various rebel-held cities, towns, and villages all accepted roughly the same deal negotiated by the Russians. Under the deal, rebel factions agree to either submit to government rule, disarming and remaining where they are, or evacuate into the north. Buses arrived in the southern part of the Quneitra province on Friday and started loading up both rebels and any civilians that wanted to leave, departing for the north. Exactly how many fled is not entirely clear. Reuters, however, reported that from the Israeli-held side of the frontier, they could see large numbers of cars and trucks packed with people withdrawing from a village on the Syrian side. This withdrawal leaves just a handful of towns held by the Islamic State along the southern border outside of government control and presumably the next targets of the offensive. Are you looking for a cryptocurrency that has a focus on users and usability? Then look into Zencash. Zencash has the ability to use both transparent and shielded transactions, with shielded transactions using zero-knowledge proofs. Zencash features global governance with inclusive decision-making, reliable funding for continuous improvements, and documentation and wallets in many languages that are available for Linux, Mac, Windows, and Android devices. Learn more at Zencash.com. That's Zencash.com. UPI reports an independent investigation into sexual assault allegations against a now-deceased sports doctor at Ohio State University has uncovered more than 100 former students who said they were abused, according to a statement by the school on Friday. The accusers, including both athletes and patients at Student Health Services, said Dr. Richard Strauss committed acts of sexual misconduct between 1979 and 1996. Other patients of Strauss's private practice, which was started in 1996, also lodged complaints against him. Investigators interviewed more than 200 former students and university staff as part of the probe and intended to talk to 100 more. The investigation is being carried out by Perkins Cole LLP, an international law firm that has been in communication with the Franklin County Prosecutor's Office. The investigatory team said it also plans to review whether Strauss examined any high school-age students during his time at The Ohio State University. Strauss died in 2005. You can support FPP Radio by joining the Fans program. Fans are friends, allies, and numerous supporters. Fans help FPP afford to produce more original content. You can join the Fans program for as little as $1 per month through Patreon and get perks like ad-free versions of FPP Radio News and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com. Reuters reports Ohio Governor John Kasich on Friday commuted the death sentence of a convicted double murderer after a former juror in the man's trial asked that he not be put to death because the panel was not given key information during the sentencing about his troubled childhood. Kasich said there were fundamental flaws in the sentencing for Raymond Tibbetts and ordered him to serve life in prison without the possibility of parole. The governor's office said in a statement, the defense's failure to present sufficient mitigating evidence, coupled with an inaccurate description of Tibbetts' childhood by the prosecution, essentially prevented the jury from making an informed decision about whether Tibbetts deserved the death penalty. Earlier this year, Kasich halted the execution to consider a letter from former juror Ross Geiger. In the letter, Geiger said there was no question Tibbetts committed the murder, but factors about the defendant's upbringing were omitted or distorted by prosecutors in the trial's sentencing phase. Geiger said several years after the trial, he read a publicly available clemency report from 2017 that showed a history of abandonment for Tibbetts starting at age 2, and that of the 4 siblings, one committed suicide, another spent time in prison, and another is essentially homeless. He faulted the defense team for not calling the one sibling of Tibbetts who is leading a stable life and was willing to testify during the sentencing about the difficult childhood they all shared. Geiger said Tibbetts deserves to be in prison, but based on what he knows today, I would not have recommended the death penalty. Aaron Barnhart, an attorney for Tibbetts, said the jury was deprived of crucial information about his client's abusive upbringing. Clemency has been granted in 288 cases since the U.S. Supreme Court reinstated the death penalty in 1976, with the bulk coming from states that eventually repealed the death penalty. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.